my name is Jay. I'm from Jay Sweet and Sour Life, and I love this show. I watched it with my 7-year-old, and she just was saying, look at the dogs. The dogs are there. Everybody's just, they're like us. And I really loved, without spoiling it, I loved all of the nods to the original book that were in the show. And I wanted to know, since the books were inspired by an older generation, how are you making it relevant to today's generation?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the great thing about the book is it's had this kind of timelessness to it, right? Kids were enjoying it back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up till now. So there's right there, you're dealing with things that are kind of universally loved by kids, dogs, vehicles, community, friendships, all that stuff. So I think the fun of it was incorporating aspects of the book, but you don't have to know the book to appreciate the show. And I think it all kind of runs through the main character, Tag, who's this, very driven, fun-loving, spirited dog that hopefully all kids will connect to, regardless of whether they know the book or not. And I think it's, they live in a pretty modern world. There's not too much in the way of technology, but that's more just because kids have enough experience with technology. It was sort of fun to create a world where the technology was mostly just cars and trucks and stuff like that. So hopefully it just has a universal storytelling that kids will feel modern to kids.
My question, it's pretty much been done before. We've seen books being turned into movies and shows. What was it like turning this specific book into a series, and how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, well, it's, as you know, Go is a book it doesn't have a traditional linear plot, and it doesn't have characters with names. So it doesn't have some of the ingredients that you normally have in a show, but it does have this very specific and quite unique tone to it, and humor and sense of surprise. So I think for me, it was a couple things, trying to create that tone and trying to figure out how that tone would translate to a TV show, but also pull in some of the things from the book, like the blimps and the party in the tree and the dog who asks, "Do you like my hat?" Trying to pull them all in and make sense of why they all are living in the same space. And so I think the two main steps from there were, one, creating a town where all these dogs could do their thing, called Pawston, and the other was finding a main character, and that was inspired a little bit by the image of all the dogs in the bed. I thought that could be a family, and the little dog with his or her eyes open could maybe be a main character who you can't contain and is always on the go. So it was kind of taking cues from the book and clues from the book and building out from there.
That's awesome. I really loved how everything streamed out throughout the series. And it's just, you're looking at the book, you're looking at the series, it's perfect.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So we see some familiar faces or some familiar dogs in there, like Lady Lydia with her hats. Where did the idea come from with these new characters where we have the Barcapella, the singing dogs? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so the Barcapellas, for instance, are mainly came out of a desire to have music in the show. And I liked the idea that it wasn't a show where, for the most part, kids characters just burst into song like a musical. I like the idea that it came from something within the world. And so the idea of these characters that literally never speak, they can only speak through song, was sort of fun. But I think that even though that wasn't in the book, I think that was inspired by the other characters you mentioned, like Lady Lydia, that are in the book, which is this sort of sense of surprise and these unexpected characters popping up. You'll see in the way that the Barcapellas show up in those episodes. You don't expect them. They just kind of come in and they're just part of the world, feeling alive and spontaneous. So it felt like a good mixture and a good way to bring in music.
I love how they really bring the melody to life, where you're living and you're in that fun zone of it. I really love seeing, my daughter would always, try to sing along with them if she could catch it. But yeah, we love them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was wondering, without spoiling the series, were you able to share any Easter eggs that you would like the viewers to look out for in the show while they're watching?
Gosh, that is a good question. And I'm going to sit here, my answer is going to be a little vague, But one thing I really like about working with this particular team, we worked with a great team at both DreamWorks and WildBrain Animation, is every artist brought such a level of detail to it. So every time I watch it, I see something else that maybe I didn't even notice like the first time through. It could be a poster on the wall, or it could be, you know, a little background detail of like, I'll give you one that I liked, but like they're at a carnival and a dog way in the background was just like, she was working, but she just checked her phone. Like she was looking to see when she was going to get off of work. And I just think like, without distracting from the main content, these artists have done such a nice job at bringing this reality to the world. So I would just say, keep an eye out for little artistic touches that are in the background would be my answer.
Awesome. I can't wait to find them now. I'm going to be looking.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah.